Well, good morning.
Good morning.
You guys on the road?
It's just me.
Oh, okay. Everything all right?
Um, yeah. Um, Roz started her training for her job,
Okay.
that tutor position that she got,
Good.
and it was too much for her to handle. So after one day of training, she's decided to um not-
You froze up. There you go. She decided what?
she decided not to pursue that.
Ah, darn it. That's too bad. That's wow. Sorry to hear that. She was so excited about that.
Yeah, we were too, but her health isn't worth the risk of the work.
Exactly.
So I took a different approach, and I've been doing the appliance repair.
Right.
Well, I decided to bring Roz on board with that.
Oh,
So she's gonna deal with all the customer stuff and my scheduling. That way she'll have something to work for and it'll help me.
yeah. Yeah. I wish I had somebody like that. Man, it would be a huge help for me. Jeez. Well, good. Good. I hope that will work out good.
There we go.
Yeah, you
Got
keep
you on speakerphone now. So,
okay. Yeah, you
oh,
keep
Roz had jokes for me to read.
good. All right. Well, I'll get started with the intro and we'll go for it. All righty. Welcome to another episode of the Roz and Clay Show. Today, Clay's with us, talking about a few different things that we thought you'd be interested in. How you doing, Clay?
I'm doing well. Doing well this
Good.
morning.
Good. How's business?
And getting super busy.
Really?
Super busy.
That's excellent. That's excellent. Well, Roz wanted you to share a new joke with us this week.
Oh my gosh. Yes, she has four of them.
Oh my gosh. Okay. We'll do two now and two at the end. How's that sound?
Great.
All right, it's all yours.
What did the fish say when he swam into a wall?
Uh, you got me.
Damn.
Jeez. Where did she get all this? Okay. What's the other one?
Why is a snake so hard to fool?
Uh, got me there too.
You can't pull its leg.
Okay. Oh boy. Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah. It always helps to start with a laugh. That's for sure.
Yeah, she's good about that.
Whether it's good and just how you get out of bed or a real joke. That's always good. Excellent. Thank you for that. I'm curious, how did you guys all meet?
Wow. Um, so Roz and I met through an activities club called Events and Adventures.
Okay.
It was in Dallas, and we were going to we went to a comedy show. We didn't know each other, and she came up and she asked if I could move so that she and her friends could all sit together because I was in a table by myself. And I told her no. Then there was an after party, an after event, and that was at a place called the Flying Saucer, and she brought in some darts, and of a table of like 15 people, I was the only one who volunteered to play darts. She asked the table, "Hey, does anyone want to play darts?" And I was like, "Sure, fine." And I went out to my car and got my darts because I picked those up when I lived in England, which was a surprise to her that I actually had darts as well.
Yeah, right.
So we ended up throwing darts and we each won a game. And then I said, "Okay, well, it was very nice meeting you. Great game. Hopefully we see each other again." And I left it as a tie. My thinking was that, okay, this will be an opportunity later on to have a tiebreaker. At least it'll have something to break the ice or something else to talk about. And that's how we met.
Oh, wow. Okay. Did you exchange phone numbers or?
No, at that point we hadn't exchanged phone numbers.
So it was another events and adventures thing that you went to see each other again, or?
Yes. I forget what the next event was, but I know that we ended up meeting at the Taste of Dallas. It's where all the restaurants come and try to show off what they're making for the season. So we went there, and it'd been a long time since I had lumpia. Lumpia is a Filipino kind of like an egg roll. It's just smaller and it's just generally filled with like a meat. And I figured, well, there had to have been somebody there in all these restaurants that came that would have something like that. Nothing. And it was a surprise to her because I didn't realize that she was Filipino at the time. And I remember all these squadron events with the military where families and would bring whatever nice food it was. And that's where I was introduced to lumpia. And so I had a lot of it while I was overseas. And I was like, okay, well, it shouldn't be a big deal because I didn't think it wasn't uncommon. Well, come to find out, it was pretty uncommon in the Dallas area to find a place that had it. So after we walked through the Taste of Dallas and we talked and got to know each other, we discovered there was no lumpia, but it gave us a chance to talk. And then we found another place to throw darts at afterwards because it was super hot there that day. Yeah, so we went to an Irish pub not far away from where where that event was, and we threw darts and had pizza.
Great love story. Very cool. The events and adventures, knowing Roz the way I do and you, I mean, that's kind of every day for you guys, isn't it? Some kind of event, some kind of adventure.
Very true. And that's one of the reasons why we both went to that program, is because they have an event or something going on every day of the year, except there's like one day, I think it was Christmas Day or something, because you can go and you can volunteer to feed the homeless. You can go to a museum, you can go for a bike ride, hike. They've got a painting day where you can go and have a glass of wine and paint a canvas, so they have all kinds of different things, but you go to what you enjoy doing and you meet people. There isn't like that speed dating. It's not a dating place, because they want people to enjoy what they're doing and meet people because of it.
Right. More organic.
Right.
Well, that's pretty cool. I've never heard of anything like that, especially every day of the year. That's very cool.
I mean, they even have trips to France, or at the time they were still doing trips to Jerusalem. And it was just really cool that you could go and do things as a group and feel safe, because everybody was there for the same reason. Everybody's had a background check. Everybody's been vetted. So you didn't have to worry about some unsafe
wow.
person being at the event. Yeah. I mean, you have to pay to join and do all these to be able to do all these events, but you do it knowing that everybody's had a background check and nobody's got a felony, or there's no domestic violence. It's a very safe environment.
Wow. How very cool is that? How long did you guys date before you were married?
Wow. So we met in, would have been about July. Then I had to go to California for the military for a few weeks. I proposed on Christmas Day that year, so 6 months later.
Huh.
And we were married in a hurry in April, because I was slated to get deployed to Afghanistan. And if something were to happen to me while I was deployed, Roz wouldn't have any benefits or anything like that.
Right.
So we moved the wedding up from, it was going to be in the middle of summer, to April. And we ended up getting married in the Grand Canyon, where we took a helicopter ride from Vegas out to the Grand Canyon. They landed down in the canyon. And that was the 2 weeks out of the year where everything is green and flowering. And so we have some beautiful pictures of the canyon just in bloom.
Wow. That is beautiful up there.
Originally, we were going to get married in the North Pole.
Everything's an adventure, right?
Yeah. Well, North Pole being North Pole, Alaska, which isn't far from Fairbanks, Alaska.
Right.
And I was at that military base there in Fairbanks. So it was just really cool, because everything was Christmas themed, and Roz happened to know somebody that was from North Pole, Alaska as well. I mean, it's a tiny little town, so that was hilarious that they knew. And so we had a contact up there for a venue, and it was just going to be a really cool, unique destination wedding.
Very nice. And so how long were you, she had her stroke, what, 5.5 years ago? So how long were you married at that point when she had the stroke?
She had her stroke 6 years ago. We had been married. We got married in 2011. Her stroke was in 2017. So we'd been married 6 years.
Wow. Still newlyweds.
Yeah.
Amazing. It's, I mean, the stresses on a marriage from a stroke. I mean, I talked to somebody yesterday, and she was talking about how she lost so many friends because they didn't know how to deal with her with the stroke and that kind of thing. So had that affected y'all's marriage at all? I mean,
Yes,
losing.
definitely. I mean, it was a significant emotional change. It was a significant financial change, and that brings its own issues and burdens. Fortunately, we're churchgoers, and we bring God into our lives daily, and that's been a big help to pray about it, and still just listen to what advice he gives us from our prayers.
Yeah. Did you how long did it, or how did you come to acceptance of losing people like that? I mean, she had a really hard time with the acceptance of these people just couldn't deal, and oh my God, I'm losing friends and blah, that kind of thing. How long and how did you get to that point of acceptance of, hey, this is
The
the way it
hardest
is?
the hardest ones were the family members. So you just go ahead and accept that we're gonna lose. She's gonna lose family members over this because they don't understand her or are unwilling to change so that they could accommodate or be around her.
Yeah.
That took the longest. It was probably COVID 2020
Yeah.
when that realization hit. So like 3 years into the stroke, that Roz realized that most of the stress that caused the stroke was because of the family, that she was doing all the work. She was coordinating an event, getting everything, and all they had to do was show up, and often they would show up late, and she was always having to manage all that. And she realized, no, this isn't a godly relationship. Family or not, it's not a godly relationship. What does it say? You oh my gosh, I can't remember the quote, but you get rid of the toxic relationships. You get rid of the toxicity out of your life, and you can move on and walk with God. But if you have all of that in your life, you can't, and you cannot hear his voice either. So
Yeah.
that was a big revelation. And then once we started clearing all that out, a lot of other things came to light, and a lot of other family secrets and some other stuff came out of it. And we just ended up being in a healthier relationship because of that struggle.
Yeah. What did that mean to her recovery? Getting, cutting off those toxic relationships.
Emotionally, it let her just focus on herself, and it let her
I believe.
it let her have peace of mind.
Yeah. Yeah. How about you?
Yeah, because it got rid of all that drama.
Yeah. Yeah. Made it easier to focus, I'm sure. So how are those relationships now? Do you have any that have come back, or?
No, because those toxic people are staying their way. We gave them an opportunity, and we tried to talk to them about it, but we realized they don't want to fix themselves. They want to stay toxic. So we are better off by moving on. If they ever want to reach out again, the invitation's there. But
Well, good.
we're not going to wait on them. We're not going to try to change ourselves to meet what they are. So,
Yeah. Well, and it all boils down to what the recovery is for you, for her and yours and yourself. I mean, as a caregiver, I'm sure that that's a part of the less stress and easier to deal with for you as well.
yes.
So, what's going on with current current day? I mean, have you guys? Um, one of the things I've been talking about lately with some of the other survivors is what you did before, whether you do it as well or more time or whatever, doing those things that you did before anyway, in spite of the stroke. Have you guys found that to be working?
Not yet. I think a lot of that is just the risk of being around somebody that has fragrance or perfume. So we can't do all that adventuring and be around people. Then we have to find somewhere that is wheelchair friendly. So where we'd go somewhere and walk around and hike, that's not an option anymore.
Yeah.
Day-to-day activities, we still struggle with those. I mean,
Yeah.
Roz says that she wants to help with doing the laundry. Well, she can't carry any of the laundry to the laundry room. So we're trying to develop a way for me to have it already in the laundry room, and all she has to do is put it in the washer and then move it to the dryer. But then, like, once it's in the dryer, where does it go from there? So we're trying to figure it out because our laundry room is detached from the house.
Oh,
There's a breezeway in between. So
yeah. Yeah. Is so I understand there's a lot of, well, I know I had to make a lot of adjustments in my life to do things. So that continues no matter what. I mean, I still do it to this day, make adjustments on how I do things. Do you find that to be a difficulty, or is it just something that you deal with and try and work with, and how do you do that?
we're always talking about what challenges from this week or this particular day, and we talk about um ideas to get around the problem or solve the problem. So it's an ongoing um thing that we do, is try to figure out, is it worth the risk for her to do it, or is there enough benefit for that risk? um all right, so we want to try to do something. Okay, how are we going to go about doing it? How are we going to keep her safe? So there, it's just a constant struggle.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you've been married long enough that, I mean, it's, of course it's worth it. No, I mean, I know you guys are both in love very deeply. Um, how the you deal with it with the church, I know, and your God. Um, what else do you guys do to make it a, I don't know, cooperative relationship? I mean, and in your case too, as a caregiver, I mean, we always talk about the stroke, but I mean, there's stresses on on you as well, having to come up with these ideas, having to develop building a breezeway, for example, or, doing certain things to make it better. How do you guys deal with that stress?
So one of the things that helps is that I'm in the military, and I go to Louisiana around all the guys that I've worked with for 15, 16 years. So I do have my, every now and again, I'll stay in Louisiana. So I have a guys' night where we can go and hang out and I can let off some steam, or sometimes I'll have a bonfire down here at the house and do hot dogs and marshmallows and stuff like that. So Roz tries to make sure that I get my time where I blow off some steam.
Great. Great. And is it getting, the frustration's there, I'm sure. But have you found that it's better and better as you go along?
No, it's about the same. You learn how to compartmentalize it better.
Okay. Okay. What is so what's her recovery like these days? Is it improving physically for her?
She hasn't had any remarkable improvement in the last year.
Okay.
We wish that her left arm or hand would work more than it does, but it's just, our hope was to get her back into the workforce, and that just doesn't look like it's an achievable goal.
Okay. Well,
so now we're gonna start pursuing Social Security disability, which we've been told is not an option for her, but we're going to see what the professionals have to say about that.
yeah, I agree with that. There's a organization out there called ALSUP that can help you with that. It's a legal thing that helps with disability filing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'll get the information from Jim and send it to you. But they help a lot. They helped him. It took a year, but he got his done. For other stroke survivors, I the reason we do this is to share our stories and what we learned. For other stroke survivors, what are the options to build your relationship while dealing with all of this?
One of the things that Roz made sure that we did was game time every night, a board game, a card game, so after dinner you sit down, and it maintains that closeness in the relationship, and that's helped out a lot.
Excellent.
Because you can take your frustrations out in a safe way by beating somebody at backgammon or chess or phase 10 or Uno, and it keeps you in a healthy relationship.
Would you say that the relationship's better after the stroke?
I would say it's not any worse.
Okay. I can cut that part out if you want. It's.
Is it any better? I would say that it hasn't gotten worse from the stroke. I would say we're on par with where we were before the stroke, is what I mean.
Good. Okay. Okay. I'm I've been going through mostly by myself. I mean, my wife passed away in 2019, so I've been living by myself all that time. So sometimes I admire you guys because it's so difficult alone. And I don't imagine it's much easier in a relationship either. I mean, because both of you have to make adjustments. I mean, I just admire how you guys do the things you do. I mean, sitting down after a trip saying, hey, this is what we should have done, this is what we can do in the future, making a travel bag, those kind of things. That's just amazing to me that you guys can develop that on your own. So,
Well, I mean, we just have to trust each other.
Yeah.
And if we went into this relationship with our eyes wide open, and we talked about what it means, what the relationship means to us, and why. Because we had both had difficult marriages previously. So we knew we didn't want that in this one.
mhm.
And we set up the ground rules before we got married about how we would develop trust, what it meant, why it meant it, and what to do if we felt things weren't going in that right direction, how to communicate. So we still go back to those initial rules that we set up in a relationship, and we make sure and hold each other accountable. And that's one of the big things, is holding each other accountable the right way.
Okay. And that's behavioral, that's psychological, that's whatever, right?
Right. I mean, if it's the way that I talk to Roz one day because I'm not feeling well and I'm lashing out, she'll hold me accountable to that. Like, hey, you agreed not to talk to me rudely or abruptly, or
Nice.
where is that?
What's going on?
What's
Yeah.
going on? And then we sit down, we apologize, we talk through it, and then we go back and then move on.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. You have to do it in a healthy manner.
Oh, that's one of the things I admire with you guys is that you actually take the time to do that. I mean, that's so important to take that time. I mean, it just amazes me how much you guys do that. So, anyways, um, so we'll let's leave it there unless you want to add anything else on relationships and dealing with each other.
No, I think that's great. I mean, it just ultimately comes down to treat each other with respect, have a basis of ground rules that you both agree on at the beginning of the relationship, or if you haven't, start an agreement now, and you will both win when you're both on the same page.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Well, we've been pretty deep today. Let's end with a couple jokes.
All right. Which vegetable do sailors hate the most?
Oh, I think I've heard this, but I can't remember. What is it?
Leeks.
Okay. You got one more for us?
One more. Okay, this is a doozy. Is Google male or female?
Wow. Okay. Let's hear this.
Female, because it doesn't let you finish a sentence before making a suggestion.
Oh boy. I like that one a lot. Geez. Well, Clay, I have a great week. I hope The business is continues to go well. I'm sorry to hear about Roz's tutoring thing, but I'm sure you guys will work it out because like I said, you guys, I admire you sit down and talk about all of this. Have a great week. Please give Roz my best as well.
Will do.
All right. You have a great one.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Yeah.